At 16, I was making minimum wage.
God, I got paint all over my face.
Now at 22 years old, I've touched over $600,000. This is how I did it and how you can do it too. I always had this gut feeling that I would be successful. I just didn't know how yet. When I was 16 years old, my first job was at a retirement home with seniors. I got hired on the spot. That's how you knew it was a joke. I was making $12 an hour, which was not worth my time and energy at all. But I just knew that if I were to put in the hard work and I started from the bottom, I would eventually make it all the way to the top. I used to struggle so much with submitting to authority. Picture the most rebellious kid in high school. That was me. In school suspension, suspension from home, fighting. I could not submit to authority to save my life. What I did know how to do was work hard. I got my first job when I was 16 years old as a server in a retirement home, making $12.50 an hour. I knew that eventually I would get to where I wanted to be, and that is financial freedom. My second job was at Starbucks. I had middle-aged women throwing coffee in my face, and I still thugged it out. And then the third job was security, growing mold on me because it was so boring. The total amount of money that I made during that time was about $30,000. The highest amount of hourly pay was $19 an hour. I knew that wasn't enough for me. I knew that wasn't God's plan for me, and I knew I had to make a change. At 19 years old, after barely graduating high school with just a diploma, I decided to take a leap of faith and join the sales industry, specifically in insurance and financial sales. I was the youngest and one of the only women in our company. At this point in my life, I was so hungry to get my life started. I went into this with so much faith, ready to make mistakes, ready to learn and be a sponge in the sales industry. I ran into objections for being a woman. I ran into objections for being young, but I overcame all of those, and now I'm a Chairman's Club member. I made over $600,000 total, and I'm training agents every day. I had to work twice as hard to prove myself, but it paid off. But I can confidently tell you this: sales is the fastest way to scale your income if you do it correctly. Shortly after I started sales, at 20 years old, I made my first $100,000. That was a lot for somebody living at home with their parents. I started to take trips all the time, spend my money recklessly, and I realized really quickly that how you manage your money when you're poor is how you're gonna manage it once you start to actually have real money. Thankfully, I ran into mentors along the way on my sales journey that were able to guide me into how to invest my money, both liquid and through real estate. I've been able to in place the systems that they've taught me, and I'm getting closer and closer to financial freedom and generational wealth. Not only was I investing my money in real estate and liquid assets, but I was investing my money back into my education, building courses, and networking. You wanna know the biggest difference between making 30K and 100K? It's learning how to sell, invest, and level up my net worth. Not only have I doubled my income in the last couple of years, well over 200K, but I have been able to buy my time back by learning how to invest and creating passive income streams. When I was 20 years old, I bought my first fourplex, which is simply a multi-family home that has 4 different units in it. My mortgage actually gets paid by only 3 of those units, so I'm getting an additional $2,000 a month from that additional unit. Not only that, I get passive income stream from some of the products that I sell within my company, and I plan to buy another property, hopefully a triplex by the end of this year, through the art of house hacking. Although I didn't go to college, I'm a firm believer that education never dissipates. I'm constantly learning from my mentors, taking courses, taking continuing education to further my knowledge in how money really works. And of course, learning by personal experience. Because making money is one thing, but preserving it and making it work for you is another. The whole reason I started this channel is because I am extremely passionate about helping women. I'm not here to talk to the finance bros, I'm here to talk to the girlies. I'll be here sharing all the details. I'll be giving you guidance, mentorship, and the tools you'll be needing to really move forward and take real practical steps in your financial freedom. So if you're serious about leveling up, subscribe. I'll be breaking it all down for you step by step.